backlash from doctors after it dismissed an article on gun violence in a leading medical journal. Here's CNN's Brian Todd.
In the aftermath of two deadly mass shootings, a heated political showdown between two unlikely rivals, the National Rifle Association and the doctors who treat victims of gun violence. The fight stems from a recent article published by the American College of Physicians, calling firearm violence, quote, a public health crisis that requires the nation's immediate attention. Doctors shared new recommendations on how physicians can help reduce gun violence, such as counseling patients on the risks of having firearms in the home. But the doctors also weighed in on the issues of background checks and illegal gun sales. That prompted this tweet from the NRA, quote, someone should tell self-important anti-gun doctors to stay in their lane. The medical community seems to have consulted no one but themselves. But that broadside came just hours before the mass shooting in Thousand Oaks, California, where 12 people were gunned down. Some doctors are outraged.
For a group to simply dismiss the medical community that is on the front line of taking care of these patients is absolutely unacceptable.
Joseph Sacred is a trauma surgeon at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore. He not only treats many gunshot wound victims, he was one.
The bullet ruptured my windpipe right here, and then these scars are where I had the emergency surgery.
In 1994, when he was just 17, Sacred was at a high school football game when a fight broke out and someone started shooting. He ended up with a paralyzed vocal cord. After the NRA tweet, Sacred responded, quote, I cannot believe the audacity of the NRA.
Where is the NRA when I'm having to tell those loved ones that their family member has died and is not coming back?
Sacred's tweet was followed by an avalanche of others from fellow doctors slamming the NRA. One, accompanied by an x-ray, says, quote, I helped save a gun violence victim in med school. Those are my hands holding pressure on his femoral artery. The bullet is right by my fingertips. This is me in my lane, NRA. Recent accounts from weapons experts on the guns used in high-profile shootings have intensified the political debate. CBS's 60 Minutes recently profiled the effects of bullets fired from an AR-15 semi-automatic rifle, one of the guns used in the synagogue shooting. Compared to a standard handgun bullet fired on a gelatin target, simulating human soft tissue, the AR-15 bullet is much more devastating. That's one of the many complaints from doctors, that it's harder and harder to save the lives of people hit with high-power ammunition. The NRA refused to do an on-camera interview with us, but the NRA is pushing back hard, telling CNN those doctors attacking the group are pushing a gun control agenda that wouldn't prevent those shootings.
When the NRA says you guys weighing in on policy issues like background checks really isn't in your lane, don't they have a point?
We have both the possibility and the responsibility to weigh in on this issue that we're having to deal with on a daily basis.
But the NRA's pushback also includes several tweets from doctors who support the NRA's position. One physician saying that the anti-gun doctors who write some of those articles are not practicing medicine in the trenches. One retired physician saying that he's appalled by the leftist direction that organized medicine has taken. Brian Todd, CNN, Washington.
And this breaking news into CNN right now. The Broward County Canvassing Board has approved a motion to begin a machine recount in the Florida, U.S. Senate, and governor's races that are thus far too close to call. No word yet on when that recount would officially begin. Officials are holding a press conference right now at the Broward County Election Office. We want to take you there right now, live in Lauderhill.
We have every intention. It's every expectation. They're prepared to start and put the resources necessary to comply, as we did with the preliminary, to comply with the recount.
Do you know how many voters are here to
I don't have that number, sir.
I think that position is the Secretary of State.
That's who calls the recount. No question.
Not the other offices. He is the one who calls the annual recount of machines. How many people did you have working on the general election count, and how will you be adding more staff to meet the deadline?
I don't have the exact number, but one of the things that she has indicated, whatever resources she needs to make sure she complies with the recount, she's going to have those resources there.
Can you speak about the ongoing BSO investigation into that provisional box of ballots that was found this morning?
I cannot, sir. Earlier I told you I don't know what box you're speaking of, therefore I don't know the BSO. You're telling me more information if you know, I don't know.
Why did it take 4 days would you be able to speak to that?
The number of ballots that are reported on the website today is 2,019 more than were reported yesterday and given to the Scott campaign. Can you explain why there are more today than yesterday?
I don't know what website, the website that we have for Dr. Snipes for the office includes votes cast. Votes, people that actually came into a polling place or participated through another means to vote. Those are the votes that are cast. If those votes are 2,000 less than some other number, we're only interested in the votes that were actually cast in this election, and that's the number that's reflected on the Department of Elections website.
So why are there more today than yesterday?
There are not more today than yesterday on that particular site. What they're looking at, they're looking at another site from another app that they brought to us, and they're looking at that's not, they're mixing apples and oranges. We met with them, we talked to them about that, and I've given them my number to further explain that process. They're mixing tabulations. Those are, whatever that site is that they're utilizing is not the official site of the Broward County Election Supervisor's Office. That's the site that we rely on, and those are the people that cast votes in this particular election.
Will those unofficial election results are on the Broward County
Yes.
website now?
Yes. Yes, and again, we just, within the hour, had some decisions made in the canvassing board. I can't tell you those are already on the site. But you were in there and you heard whatever decisions they made on those few votes.
Does the canvassing board meet while a manual recount is done, or is that done separately?
If there are disputes that arise, they're available, always available until the process is completed.
Will this room be available for the media later today if there's a recount?
I don't control the room, sir.
Dr. Snipes.
Okay.
A judge already ruled that the media should be present and be able to record, so how do you not have an answer to that when the judge ruled last night that the media...
Any other questions?
You hear a lot of folks who are asking questions to the representatives there of that Broward County election office, trying to figure out now, once the Broward County canvassing board has agreed that a recount should take place, now people are trying to figure out what's the timetable, where will that recount, at what point will it happen, and are there discrepancies in the numbers? And you heard one of the officials there talking about there is no discrepancy from his standpoint on the votes that were cast. We're going to continue to follow all of this as all of the counties in Florida have now, we understand, met a noon deadline to get all of their counted ballots in. And because these races are so close, in the Secretary of Agriculture for the state, the U.S. Senate and governor's races, now what will be determined if there will indeed be recounts of all of the ballots that have come in to those counties across the state. We'll continue to follow these developments, and we'll be right back.